Configuring the time and date. Modern operating systems distinguish between the following two types of clock: a real-time clock, or RTC, and a system clock. A real-time clock, commonly referred to as a hardware clock, that is completely independent of the current state of the operating system and runs even when the computer is shut down. A system clock, also known as a software clock, that is maintained by a kernel and its initial value is based on the real-time clock. Once the system is booted and the system clock is initialized, the system clock is completely independent of the real-time clock. The system time is always kept in coordinated universal time, or is known as UTC, and converted in applications to local time as needed. Local time is the actual time in your current time zone, taking into account daylight saving time, or DST. The real-time clock can use either UTC or local time. UTC is recommended. Red Hat Enterprise Linux offers 3 command line tools that can be used to configure and display information about the system date and time. The timedatectl utility, which is new in Red Hat Enterprise and is part of systemd, and the traditional date command, and the HWC clock utility for accessing the hardware clock. The timedatectl utility is distributed as part of systemd system, as I said, and Service Manager, and allows you to review and change the configuration of the system clock. You can use this tool to change the current date and time, set the time zone, or enable automatic synchronization of the system clock with a remote server. So, to display the current date and time along with details information about the configuration of the system and hardware clock, run timedatectl command with no additional command line options. I'll type it: timedatectl. This displays the local and universal time and currently used time zone, the status of the network time protocol, or NTP, configuration, and additional information related to DST. Remember, DST means daylight saving time. So this is an example of output of timedatectl command on a system that uses NTP to synchronize the system clock with a remote server. It's important to remember that changes to the status of cron or NTPD will not be immediately noticed by timedatectl. If changes to the configuration or status of these tools are made, enter the following command: systemctl restart systemd.timedated.service. To change the current time, type the following command: timedatectl set-time and time in hours, minutes, seconds. Let's run the following command. This will change the current time. For my system it gives an error as my system has got automatic synchronization. By default, the system is configured to use UTC. To configure your system to maintain the clock in the local time, run the timedatectl command with the set-local-RTC option as the root. Let's run this command: timedatectl set-local-RTC and boolean data here. Boolean definition means yes or just y, true, or just t or 1. And if you want to have a negative answer, just type no or false or n or 0. To change the current date to some other date and time, run the following command as root: timedatectl set-time and then type the date you need. For example, year 2017, September, that is 09, and the date, for example, 30th of September. And set the time to 23 p.m. 26 minutes and 00. That is just an example. To list all available time zones, type the following command: timedatectl list-time zones. Let's type it. And to change the currently used time zone, type as root timedatectl set-time zone and add the time zone from the list of values listed in timedatectl list-time zones commands. I'll add Europe/Zurich time zone just for example. To identify which time zone is closest to your present location, use the timedatectl command with the list time zone command line option, and as the list is too long, you could use grep to find your time zone. For example, to list all available time zones in Europe, type timedatectl list-time zones, then pipe it to grep Europe. As opposed to the manual adjustments described in the previous examples, the timedatectl command also allows you to enable automatic synchronization, which I've mentioned before. So this automatic synchronization uses remote servers and it uses NTP protocol. Enabling NTP enables the cron-ed or NTPD service, depending on which of them is installed. The NTP service can be enabled and disabled using a command as follows: timedatectl set-ntp and boolean meaning. For example, yes or true, or no or false. Let's run this command. The command will fail if an NTP service is not installed.